Suns won the Kevin Durant trade. It's not even close. By SB Nation. Bright side of the sun. Our guy, Maya Scott. Mike Tyson. The Suns are engineering the biggest trade in NBA history. Here's what they'll get out of it. Oh, this was the 7-team trade. All right, just seeing. Oh, the Jaylen Green leap is coming. Just ask Cade Cunningham. All right, I know what we're getting here. I know what we're getting. Let's just say it plainly. The Phoenix Suns won the Kevin Durant trade. And if that makes you uncomfortable, it probably means you're still clinging to a version of the team in Kevin Durant that was always more illusion than contender. So, up front, I partially agree with what he's saying, that maybe that the return on value might have been might have been with the most you can get out of KD. I will say immediately, off the rip, no. And you just showed why you actually lost the trade. It's because you always have to factor in the original trade. You always have to factor in the original trade. So, because that's just the way that it is. They're going to be linked. Okay, you gave up a king's fucking ransom for KD. And then, 2.5 years later, you're trading him for, I don't know, 50 cents on the dollar, especially compared to what you traded for him at the time, which is like $2 on the dollar. So let's just get it started there. Immediately, it's an L. The trade wasn't about disrespecting Kevin Durant. It was about moving on from a failed experiment. And the result, the Suns didn't just reload. They reimagined their future and came away with something they never could have had if they held on to Durant for one more go-around. Hope. Okay. Let's break it down piece by piece, and then you tell me if the Suns fleece the Rockets or not. All right. Okay. Come on, Maluach. So the steal of the draft. So let's just start here. I'm not that in on Maluach at all. He just looks like I think there's a reason why these guys always end up going in like the 10 to 20 range because, there's 7-foot rim runners. Is there maybe a world in which there's some shooting? Sure. Right? Sure, but we say that about every single one of these guys that have ever come out. I don't think he didn't strike me as somebody who's like really quick decision maker, good processor, good passer in the short roll, which has become like almost a prerequisite for these type of centers at this point in time with like how defenses guard pick and rolls and stuff like that. You want your center to have a very quick processing speed. Didn't see that with Maluach. And, he moves his feet well for his size. Like, I think he'd be a really good defensive player, but instead, Kamal Maluach fell into the Suns' lap, a generational defensive anchor. So, okay, this just really depends. This guy's just clearly head over heels for Maluach. All right. A massive motor and the upside to become the kind of player who changes franchises. He's not just a rim protector. He's a floor-raising, ceiling-shattering building block. Phoenix got a future superstar. Is this a satirical article? Is there like a little hint of satire here? I honestly can't tell. HBA paid this guy. Rasheer Fleming, first round value in the second round. The Fleming pick was good. Don't overlook Rasheer Fleming. Was that part of the KD trade though? The long arm 20-year-old forward was projected to go in the top 20 by multiple scouting outlets, but slipped in the second round where the Suns use assets from the Durant deal to scoop him up. Okay. Fleming defends like his life depends on it, plays with the edge, and has a 7'4" wingspan. That's the kind of raw material you give to a player, developmental staff, and thank the basketball gods for 5 years later. This isn't a project. This is a two-way problem from the opposing benches starting day one. All right. I don't know about that. The Rockets got a two-way problem for their own organization. Enjoy the social media burner accounts and passive-aggressive, I'm just here to hoop statements. Oh. We got a hater. We got a real hater in our midst. I respect it. We got a real hater in our midst. I didn't realize that. Okay, here's where we might jump off the deep end. Because I'm here, you know what? I'm kind of here with you. All right, if you're like really on a Maluach, whatever. And in this guy's defense, we looked at the articles that he's written. And he did publish an article before the draft that if they got Maluach, it was a steal of the draft. So, okay. Look, Rasheer Fleming's two-way potential day one. I'm not entirely sure. He might be overselling that a tiny bit. But all right. This is the one right here where we're really kind of pushing up against it. Jaylen Green is a very young talent, 4 years from his prime with more upside to give and proven recent success. The talent has always been there. The handle, the speed, the bounce, the shot creation. But what he needed was structure, a real backcourt partner, a team that believed in his ceiling. Is that even Phoenix? Like, was he like? I think you're kind of implying Phoenix is like, Jaylen Green's our guy. We want, and I think it was just like his salary needs to be in this trade. I think if a like decent package presented itself tomorrow, Phoenix would trade Jaylen Green tomorrow. Now he has Devin Booker beside him with the new coaching staff, and Devin is the leader. He will have a clear role, score, and he's entering his age 23 year, right when guys like Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, and Cade Cunningham hit their breakout. With Jaylen, there's no ceiling here, just a runway score. No, there's definitely a fucking ceiling. So, I don't know. That was kind of his role for Houston. Like, I think Houston, in a lot of ways, had even a better table setter in Fred VanVleet than Devin Booker, right? Just in terms of captaining an offense. And then beyond that, they're a better team, much better team, with the defensive pieces as well, where Jaylen Green could kind of hide defensively and not get burnt so much defensively, so he did have a little bit more to go offensively. And what has he shown us time and time again? I mean, I don't know. If you're banking on this out of Jaylen Green, you've been suckered yet again. And that was me last year. By the way, that was me last year. Going into the season, I picked the Rockets to finish 6th. I was really high on them. If you remember, one of the reasons I was because I said, I think Jaylen Green's going to have, like, this is going to be the Jaylen Green year. And it wasn't. We don't talk enough about how rare it is to get a 23-year-old who's already averaged 21 points per game and led a team to a 2 seed in the playoffs. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. And we talk way too much about a 36-year-old who averages 26 points per game. The last time he made it out of the second round was 7 years ago. Okay. Jaylen Green did not lead his team to the 2 seed. That's really overselling it. Dillon Brooks, the culture builder. Brooks may be the most hated man on your screen unless he's on your team, and now he's on ours. The Suns didn't just trade for defense, they traded for identity. Dillon Brooks is an emotional engine, a tone setter, a guy who makes scores miserable and locker rooms tighter. He's Marcus Smart with an edge, Patrick Beverley with more game, Draymond without the theatrics. You want to build a defensive culture, you start with Dillon Brooks. He's not a throw-in, he's a statement. I think he was a throw-in in the trade, though. What did Houston get? A warning label. I'm sorry, Houston, we lied. The Phoenix Suns sold you a lemon that they were willing to chew their arm off to get away from, and you gave us a future. Okay, so I get the coping happening here. The Rockets are reading this, and they're like, all right. He's like, okay. Whatever you say, man. We've got all of your picks, mind you. We traded you one singular pick and a guy that we couldn't wait to get the fuck off of in Jaylen Green. So you get a 37-year-old in September that will just hoop and score 25 points per game and ruin all that young positive chemistry that you've been building. The Rockets didn't just get Kevin Durant. They inherited the full Kevin Durant experience. That means a 37-year-old star who will ISO your team to death and turn the ball over. Jaylen Green is ready for the leap. Okay, I'm just making sure I saw that. I read that right. A mercenary who bails at the first sign of trouble. I'm unbothered, just here to hooper, who becomes disengaged when things don't go his way. A walking frowny face emoji who turns on fans and media the second criticism enters the chat. A social media sniper with a burner account and a short fuse. Let's be honest. When things go wrong, and they will go wrong, Durant will do what he's done in OKC, Golden State, Brooklyn, and Phoenix. He'll disengage, he'll throw shade, and he'll plan his escape while the team he just destabilized is left to clean the mess. I think Phoenix just fucking sucked. Did he do all that stuff in Phoenix, really? Did he, disengage? I'm, more concerned with what I saw from Booker last year than KD. Full stop. The Slim Reaper always strikes again. People also criticize Jaylen Green for choking in his first year in the playoffs. Durant never made it out the second round in Brooklyn or Phoenix, was bounced in the first round with each, and completely missed the playoffs this year. Yet we are criticizing a kid in his first playoff series appearance for choking? What does that mean? Durant, a veteran superstar, did in Brooklyn and Phoenix. Well, let me flip that question on you. What does that mean? Because I guarantee you the way this guy is typing that he would call Devin Booker the best player on the Suns. What does that mean for Devin Booker? That's immediately what I would flip. What does that mean for Book? Huh? What does that mean? The Suns traded the past for a future. Kevin Durant was never going to bring a title to Phoenix. It was an illusion from the beginning. We blew up a team for what we thought was our organization's savior, but the truth is we didn't need saving. And instead of the remedy, Durant turned out to be the poison pill that triggered a difficult reboot. Before you blame Bradley Beal, you should search who was the one who lobbied for Beal to be brought to Phoenix. I'll save you a Google search. Durant. Oh, man. The Suns chose a different path this year. They chose youth, energy, hope, and maybe, finally, a core that can grow together. Rest easy, Suns fans. The nightmare is over and the rebuilding has begun. No, we will not contend next year, but we will be competitive, fun, building towards something, building towards a Booker trade, and most importantly, fun to root for again. The best part, they didn't just win this trade. They fleeced the Rockets. How do I read the comments? That was yeah, that's, $2 hot dogs. HBO might have had this guy on payroll. I like the cope, though. I like the cope. I don't know. Like, there's no. Let's just start here. If you want to say, hey, the Suns got a decent return, fine. They did not fleece the Rockets whatsoever. Let's just get that out the way. There was no fleecing that happened. Okay. There's no fleecing at all. Yeah, you didn't get Jabari Smith in the trade. You didn't land any of your picks, right? You got the 10th pick in this year's draft. You didn't land any future firsts in the process. Like, you got off of a top 13, 14 player who's older, a flight risk, all of that stuff, injury risk. But you traded that for Jaylen Green, who clearly the Rockets were A-okay with getting rid of. Look, the reality is historically speaking, these guards who year 3 or 4 in the league haven't really shown much. They're still uber inefficient. Very rarely do those guys ever really turn the corner in a serious way. What do you think? Booker nets in a trade, Jaden Ivey plus 4 firsts? I'm going to be real. $75 million? No way in fuck I'm giving up that much for Book. At this point in time, Book has not been that good to me for a couple years. I'd be a little concerned with how many minutes he's played in the league so far. I don't think so. I think it's kind of a stretch to say the Suns fleeced the Rockets, but I definitely think the Suns are way better off with what they have now versus having Durant. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's really it. To say that you fleeced them, But you could say, we did the best with what we had. I think that's fine. I mean, Houston, I'm going to tell you one thing right now. I think Houston thinks they fleeced you. I think Houston thinks they fleeced you. I think Houston looks at it and says, oh my God, all it took was Jaylen Green, Dillon Brooks, 2 guys that we could easily replace with some of our younger guys. And only 1 pick in this draft that was never going to be in our rotation anyways. Like, that was it. Like, they think they fleeced you. But man, on Green, the overwhelming weight of historical evidence suggests that if Green was going to make that leap to star player, he'd have done so already. Not saying he still can't, but he'd absolutely be an outlier. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Usually these, by the way, your argument is akin to what someone recently said about project players rarely ever pan out. It's just not true. No, there's some stats out there, and I've read articles about it. It was even heading into this season, where it was like looking at Jaylen Green's statistical profile, and it is like has never happened really that a guy as inefficient as he has been turns the corner ever. Like, it just does not happen. Let me see if I can find that. What should I search on Google? Jaylen Green stats. Jaylen Green is historically awful versus the Warriors. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. There was some big... The NBA's most inefficient player, Jaylen Green. He's either the worst on the team or the worst in the NBA in almost all statistics. He's always at the bottom of the statistics. Every minute Jaylen Green plays, the Rockets lose the chance to get a good player in a trade. Jesus Christ. Jaylen Green this season, 23% on middies, 18% on non-restricted area paint shots, 26% on corner threes, 29% on all jumpers. Okay, that was in November. I was about to say, what the fuck? I mean, I respect this level of cope 100%. But I agree with a lot of what he's saying in the sense that, like, you know, they didn't, like, lose this trade. They're in a better spot now 100%. Like, if I were a Suns fan, I'd feel better about where I'm at now versus going into the season with KD, knowing full well we'll be like a 6 seed, whatever the case may be. But, yeah, I mean, like, Jaylen Green's going to take the leap, and then comparing him to Cade. Like, so this is where I'll... You know, Jason Tatum came into the league and it was clear and obvious right away he was going to be a star. And pretty similar. Like, rookie season, very inefficient, but you watched him play and it was like, this guy's a fucking stud. And then year 2, there was no mistaking it. Cade Cunningham, same exact thing. Like, you watched Cade Cunningham play. There was no mistaking it. None at all. And you got to be really high on Maluach.